No evil can survive the holy fire. The holy fire enlightens, burns, and cleanses. Behold the flame of grace and mercy. Special fire for you, freak. Nice, slow burning. You'll beg for mercy in all the voices known to you by the others of your species. None! I wanted only to live like you. Help me, kind folk, please! A Doppler!
Welcome back to another Witcher lore video. Today's video is going to be on the Witch Hunters. So you as the player will probably know them from the streets of Novigrad, from Velen, from many major events throughout the game, and will also probably know them as cold-blooded killers. As always, to start with, some basic information on this guild. So to begin with, the Witch Hunters were the Church of the Eternal Fire's way of apprehending magic users in their territories. And these territories after the end of The Witcher 2 include Kedwen and obviously Redania and parts of Temeria, but very small parts. The Witch Hunters as an organisation also ventured into other parts of the world such as Velen, so they're also known to have a lot of association with the Church of the Eternal Fire. And even though they're not officially aligned, their actions are actually sanctioned by the Church of the Eternal Fire, and a lot of their members claim to be of that religion, as you'll know just from having played the games. So if the Witch Hunters don't actually kill the witches and mages they capture, they return them to the Redanian Guard, and the Redanian Guard can actually burn them on pyres. So they work sort of hand in hand. A lot of what I say here is also done by the Redanian Guard. It's not just the Witch Hunters that take part in a lot of this. So what I will say is, as of making this video, I will admit that I was a little bit confused about who actually created this guild. Just because initially I was under the impression it was Radovid after the summit at Loch Muin, but as I've researched more and more into it, it looks like it was actually made by the Church of the Eternal Fire and formed after the destruction of the Order of the Flaming Rose. So I think we can safely say that they were formed probably by Hierarch Himmelfart and the Church of the Eternal Fire after the Order of the Flaming Rose's destruction, and they became the Witch Hunters. It's very funny because while the Witch Hunters were actually killing all these mages and stuff like that, a lot of rulers such as Emirvar, Emrys and Radovid V were not fond of mages in any way, and you can know that from Radovid and his hate for Philippa Eilhart. So both those rulers actually sanctioned what the Witch Hunters did, apart from I believe the Witch Hunters weren't as sort of prominent within Nilfgaard as they were within the north. I've decided to interject very lightly into the video here, as after saying all of this and looking it over and everything, I have got to say that I am incredibly confused about one aspect of this guild. And that aspect is the fact that I can't tell whether or not this guild was only prominent in the north or it was also used in Nilfgaard or other places. And the reason I'm saying this is because when you first meet Tamara, that witch hunter comes in, I think his name is Garden or something along those lines, or Graydon or something like that, and you meet him and he says that we're the Redanian witch hunters under King Radovid. But I looked online and I looked everywhere and there was no mention of King Radovid forming the guild. In fact, the only mention we have is that they are used by the Church of the Eternal Fire, as I just said, to apprehend magical users and kind of burn them at the stake and complete that sort of task. So it's incredibly confusing as to whether or not they were created by the Church of the Eternal Fire or Radovid, and if they were only used in Redania or they were used sort of everywhere. And that's why this part of the video really confused me. So what I think we can assume for now is that they were created by the Church of the Eternal Fire, possibly by Hierarch Himmelfart, as I just said, or by Caleb Menger, because Caleb Menger is thought of as their kind of commander. They follow him. You see that throughout the games. So as I said, it's all a little confusing. It's not explained anywhere like outright in the games, which is why it's a little bit confusing. This guild kind of just appears. But anyway, let's get into the next part of the video. So I couldn't find a lot of information on this, but I've managed to compile what I believe is the history of this guild from its start to finish. So this guild was founded after Radovid V disbanded the Order of the Flaming Rose. So initially, the Church of the Eternal Fire used the Order of the Flaming Rose as their way to hunt witches. They used it as their way to kill magic users and to discriminate against them. But after Radovid disbanded them, they didn't have anything anymore. So they thought, right, we've got to make another guild, we've got to make something that can fight witches, that can kill them, that can kill magic users in general, and stop creatures that are trying to cohabitate the world with humans, such as Dopplers. So they created the Witch Hunters, and it was thought that the Witch Hunters were created by Hierarch Hemmelfart, just because he was the sort of chief leader of the Church of the Eternal Fire in Novigrad at the time. So funnily enough, after the disbandment of the Order of the Flaming Rose, a lot of their members went and joined the Witch Hunters, and this obviously solidified their sort of legitimacy, as now they had trained soldiers in their group that could kill for them. So that's effectively why they were formed and how they came to be. So all of what I've said just then is actually everything that takes place before the start of The Witcher 3, so this is in the 6 months leading up to the start of The Witcher 3 from the end of The Witcher 2. I know a lot of you thinking, oh, so it's a fairly new guild, and yes, it is a fairly new guild, so there's obviously not a lot of information on this, but people have been telling me that they wanted me to do this video, so I'll talk a little bit about what happens in The Witcher 3, but not too much. So the Witch Hunters are ever present throughout Geralt's quest to find Ciri. You first see their power in the streets of Novigrad, when 2 magic users are being burned to death at the stake. So this event actually shows the player the current state for the mages and sort of explains to them what happened after the summit at Lochmuin. And this event actually perfectly sets up Triss's story arc for the games, which is her trying to get mages free from the gates of Novigrad and Redania and every northern kingdom and get them, well, not every northern kingdom, but get them up to Kovir and keep them safe. So an interesting piece of information that I've heard, and I'm not sure if it's entirely confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it is that a lot of you, if you've watched my Witcher 1 playthrough or if you've played it yourself, will know of a mage called Kolkstein. And he kind of disappears after The Witcher 1 and not much is said about him, but it turns out that he was actually burned at the stake by the Witch Hunters. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure this was actually confirmed within the games about Kolkstein being burned at the stake. And this is very, very sad because obviously Kolkstein was a cool guy in The Witcher 1, everybody likes him, well at least most people did, he was very trustworthy and quite a sort of quirky character. But he was burned at the stake, which shows you just how dark things got in The Witcher 3. So the Witch Hunters also helped Geralt in the rescue mission of Anna Strenga, and this was because her daughter Tamara joined the Witch Hunters and wanted them to find her mother, and that was her sort of reasoning for joining the Witch Hunters. If you help me find my mother, I'll become one of you type thing. And they were obviously all for it because they thought, oh, she's been taken by a magical creature. That's what we hunt, let's do it. And then they helped Geralt. But obviously that event can go one of 2 ways. Either you can rescue Anna Strenga or she can die because she was cursed by the witches of Crookback Bog. So a fiend in both cases is actually set to fight them, and they actually help Geralt kill the fiend. So it shows that they're not all bad, and in Geralt's opinion their leader was actually quite level-headed and quite a nice guy. Well, not nice guy, but at least he had his full wits about him and he seemed to stand for correct things. So that's all I'm going to say about them in the games, as they don't really participate in much else past that point, except obviously invading the Peller's little sort of ritual thing, but that's not even that relevant to this video. So what I will say though is that they continued to participate in the witch huntings and the murder of magical users. But now I'm actually going to talk about the possible endings for this group, and that's the possible endings for the Witcher games and what can happen to them. So there are a few possible endings presented to us in The Witcher 3, 2 of which end pretty badly for the innocent parties involved. So in one ending, the player decides not to help Triss and the magic users to escape Redania/Novigrad, and this causes them to still be hunted by the witch hunters. Many of them are killed, and that's the end of that. In another, the player can help Triss, but in the process leaves the witch hunters without a target, and this leaves them to instead kill non-humans at the stake. And in the final ending, Radovid is actually killed, and in the process the witch hunters are thought to have been disbanded, just because they stopped with their witch hunting and nothing really came of it after that, at least if Radovid's killed. So finally, to end today's video, I will list some notable members and affiliations, followed by some trivia. So actual members of this guild include Caleb Menger, the prison warden, Graydon, Dirk, Egbert, Ubrecht, I think, Kurt, Morels, Tamara Strenger, and their affiliates include Primothine Shakeslock, and that's all there is for the affiliates and the direct members. Obviously there's more, but that's just the main ones. A bit of trivia actually, their original name was supposed to be the Inquisition, and this is a name used quite a lot within fantasy, and I imagine they changed it purely for that reason. And it's clear why they were called the Inquisition, because as you know, there was a group known as the Spanish Inquisition, so it's thought that the portrayal of witch hunters in the games is to be inspired by Matthew Hopkins. And Matthew Hopkins was actually a famous witch hunter within England, and this was during the time of the English Civil War. Obviously, we can say, unless some of you believe otherwise, that there were not witches in England, so he was clearly just going around and killing people, but if in his mind he thought he was killing witches, his sort of garb and his outfit is what theirs was based upon. So that's all I want to do for today's video. Sorry it's a little short, this guild isn't exactly an ancient one, well, not ancient, but older one like the Scoia'tael, so there's not really much to say on it, but I hope you've learned something new that you might not have known if you hadn't played the previous Witcher games, or maybe you weren't paying attention, which is fine. So anyway, I hope you like the video. If this is the first video you're seeing of my channel, be sure to click the subscribe button, as it's always awesome when we get new Witcher fans. And if you're a current subscriber, or even someone that just watches the video and just thought, oh, I like that, click the like button, as it does help me out, and it's always awesome if you guys do that, because these videos take a lot of time, and it's always nice to know that you guys actually like them. So thank you. As always, be sure to follow my Twitter, as I post updates on there whenever I post a new video. I also plan to do some Q&As on there in the future, and many other things, and you get to keep track of what I'm doing a lot of the time. So be sure to go and follow me on there. Also, be sure to join the Discord. There's a lot of fellow-minded Witcher fans in there that you can post your art, you can do Gwent challenges, you can do basically whatever you want, even post some memes and things like that, just little things like that. It's always fun, everyone's pretty nice there, and if anyone isn't nice, we have moderators that ban them and stuff, so we all try and just have a nice time there. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch. I plan to stream more recently. I've been off the ball a bit lately because I've been very busy with these videos, but I've been streaming a lot of cool games on there, and I'm sure if you go and follow me on there, you'll be pleasantly surprised by what games we play. There's also open Gwent challenges on there sometimes where you guys can add me on GOG and actually challenge me, or you can challenge each other. You can do whatever you want. So thanks, guys. Obviously, the links for all of this will be down in the description, so be sure to go and check out the description if you're interested in any of that. And as always, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges. You guys are honestly, you guys are amazing. Somebody donated $99 the other day, and when that came up on my emails, I was like, somebody's made a mistake there. So I actually reached out to them on Patreon, and I said, hey, I think you've put in, too much type thing, and I sent them a message on Discord saying, hey, did you donate $99? Because they joined and they got their rank on Discord for donating, and it turned out they weren't, so I said a big thank you to them, and I want to do a special thank you to them in this video. You'll probably have seen them on the big list of names. I put the donations next to names, so they'll be the top donation as they're donating the most. So a big thank you to that person, and obviously a big thank you to everybody else that donates on Patreon, as this entertainment's free, and the fact that you're donating to something you don't really have to is honestly amazing, and it shows more support than I could possibly imagine. And obviously everyone who leaves nice comments and likes the video and stuff, you're showing a lot of support too, so thank you so much. But anyway, I hope you all have an awesome week, guys, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye, guys.